online community important? Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it helps your brand or your blog. People say that content is king, and I've seen people come up here and say content is king. I actually don't agree. For me, community is king. Now just take a note of this. If you have a look at the bottom here, there's my Twitter handle, the Travel Camel. If you mention me at all, I promise I have a 100% response rate. There is a hashtag, ITBMC. Please use it if you want to trend. Charles, Noel, I can see you. Oh, you're not fanning yourself, you've got a free hand now. Get out there and start using this hashtag. We'd love to see it. So a strong community does help grow your brand and your blog. And I'm going to explain why. It's because one of the great innovations in our lifetime for travel is the ability to connect online. So people out there, for the industry of people out there, you can now connect with your customers when they're not sleeping in your hotel, when they're not eating in your restaurant, and they're not sitting in one of your tour vehicles. This was never possible before. Remember, in the old days, it had to be, for those who are old enough to remember, it had to be a postcard, or a letter, or something else in the mail, or a fax. I remember when they came out, but now it's so much easier. You have the ability to make use of it. Now, the 3 C's I always tell, I give a lot of speeches around the place, and I say there are 3 C's you have to remember online: strong content, strong conversation, and strong community. And the hardest is the third, and the most important, and this is the reason. Because when you try to create an audience online, your content attracts your customers, but it doesn't keep them there. Your conversation keeps them there. And by conversation, we mean real conversation. It's not the thumbs up on Instagram, it's not a great photo, it's not the like on Facebook, it's something deeper than that. It's something meaningful engagement. Meaningful engagement. But your community strengthens the customers that are there. And to show you this, when I was asked to give this presentation, it was said to me, Shane, you must talk about Twitter chats. In particular one. So I'm going to explain to you what a Twitter chat is. A Twitter chat, now you can see the Twitter. See the birds sitting above your head? Yeah, that's Twitter. And a Twitter chat involves a group of people using a hashtag for an hour. And there'll be 5 questions. Let's say the Twitter chat I hosted Tuesday night, Q2, was what is the most daring place you've visited? Share a photo. And then you put the hashtag. And then people around the world put A2, answer to, my most daring place was, and they'll give the answer. And by using the hashtag, everyone can follow what everyone else is doing. Now, what was really interesting, I started getting heavily involved in Twitter in 2013, and I noticed something. Almost all the chats focused on Europe and North America. And now, I love taking the road less travelled. I particularly love it. I'm drawn to it. And it was really hard to talk about these other destinations. So one day in September 2013, me and 2 other people were in another Twitter chat, and we totally forgot about the chat, and we talked about a destination close to each of our hearts. It was Afghanistan. Now, each of us had been there independently, and we fell in love with the beautiful mountain scenery. We fell in love with these incredible smiles, very different from what the media tells you. Don't believe it. The world is not a dangerous place. I don't care what the media tells you. It is not. It is a safe place full of welcoming people like this man in Afghanistan. And these amazing eyes of the Afghan women. This is the Afghanistan we all loved. So I said to them, and it was in September, 12th September 2013, I said, you know, there could be a chat in this, talking about something different. And 2 months later, 5th November 2013, the Road Less Travelled Twitter chat was born. And what TRLT did, it did something quite different. And when people come up here, and I said, people come up on stage and they're saying, well, you know, find your niche. And I say, no, don't find your niche. You find your voice. Your voice is more important than your niche. The story only you can tell. And for the first time ever, there was a Twitter chat that focused on destinations away from Europe, all destinations away from Europe and North America. It really was the first time. We could have people in the Middle East tell their story, give a voice to say how much they loved their region of the world and not being concerned that people are going to judge them on terrorism and mobs. We have people, I live in Kenya, people can talk about Kenya and talk about how wonderful the food is and how friendly the people is. And not just talk about safaris. It's people from Nepal talking about the country, which is more than just mountains and Everest. It gave people a voice. And what we had, and we hadn't realised it at the time, and I was speaking to someone yesterday over lunch, we had created a unique selling proposition, which you all seek. We didn't realise it. And you know, to this day, no one else has actually copied what we've done. So we're still there, talking about destinations. Now, it's changed a bit because for some people, for people from Europe and North America, Nepal is the road less travelled. But people from Nepal, America is the road less travelled because you need a visa. So therefore, it doesn't really matter as long as it's something different. So this is where TRLT is at the moment. We are the only one focused. There is one that's focused on India alone. There's one that focuses on South Africa. But our focus is really on the places away. Yes, we have mentions of other places, but what's really nice is I can mention that I've been to Afghanistan and people on the chat are going to say, fantastic, I'd love to go there. They're not going to say to me, is it safe? And we never hear that on TRLT. We're now the world's premier weekly travel Twitter chat. We were number 2 for a long time. Expedia chat were biggest. They offered a $500 prize and big numbers, but they're not weekly anymore. So suddenly we're saying, where do they go? They're only every couple of weeks now. And we've been 180 consecutive weeks. We've been Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. We haven't missed a week since November 2013. Only one Twitter chat has a current, longer, unbroken run, Travel Talk on Twitter. Now, during a normal week, we get the most original tweets and easily the most responses to questions. No other chat comes twice. This is what our impressions are. Normally in a 3-hour period, it jumps up and down and around, but generally in 3 hours, the hashtag TRLT will generate 15 million impressions and reach 1 million Twitter accounts. That's a lot. And there's only 4 of us. There's myself, Savannah is still there, Ariana left after 6 months, and we have 2 permanent hosts, Jess from the US and Anton from South Africa. But we learned through trial and error how to make it work. And this is how we did it. There are 5 things we learned, 5 steps. Anyone wants an online community, you need to find a step. Step number 1, you need to be reliable. People know 1 p.m. US Eastern Time, summer or winter, every week we are there, without fail. We've never missed a week. And people, when you're trying to build your website, you need to be reliable. Okay, we're personal. We welcome everyone. We know that if we see someone new coming into the chat, or if you have a Facebook page, they're coming onto your Facebook, welcome them. We make an effort to make sure everyone has felt welcome. And it's got to the stage that now people who are long-established members of the community do the welcoming for us. Because that's what a community does. And people are comfortable. They can be themselves. So everyone has little quirks they do. I play ABBA music before I do TRLT. I know it shows my age, but no one knocks me for playing ABBA. We know that Linda Peters will show a photo of Vancouver. We know that Margie will show a photo of a dog, Paddington. We know RTW Barefoot, who's Ian, he will say some quirky story, show some strange photo of him in fancy dress. We know this is going to happen, but everyone's comfortable. And when you have your community and when you're building and encouraging them, you've got to keep doing that. Appreciate that they're there. Appreciate every comment they're making. Make them feel comfortable. Now these last 2 are the most interesting. Even though the concept of TRLT was effectively my idea, so let's chat about this. The Facebook group was what made TRLT, and that was Savannah's idea. Because what the Facebook group did is it enabled people to get involved. We got people to suggest questions in our Facebook group, so they were part of the community. They were part of the process. They felt they had some ownership, because community is king. But the last one, to me, is the most important. For 1 hour every week, we inspire people with tales of faraway deserts and mountains and beaches and forests and cities. We give people who are going home in Europe, because it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in Europe, are sitting on a rainy day and are sitting huddled up and they're on the train and they're on the Wi-Fi and they're seeing something that makes that journey to work every day worthwhile. And that is the most important thing we do on TRLT. But the way we really measure it, and the way you measure your community, is this. Okay, this was in Alabama not long ago. And here are some members of the TRLT community. I'll move over here because I'm blocking the people here. Now, Charles, here's Charles. Charles, you're here. Yep, there's Charles. He was in TRLT our first week, 5th of November 2013, and he's still with us. He's still with us. And most of these people here, well, apart from Charles and his wife who's wearing the pink, I mean, they know each other, we all basically met through TRLT. So we go to a place, and then people, they want to meet us, they get together. And when we're talking about earlier, but how do you know you get your return? How do you know you're getting noticed when you get impressions? And how do you know people are making the effort? It's stuff like this. We've had bigger gatherings than this. We had one in Utrecht. I don't think anyone here was there. There was about 17 people, had a 5-star hotel hosted us. They gave us hors d'oeuvres. It was outstanding. So this actually does occur. Getting people together. Nothing beats meeting people face to face. That is why events like this are so important. Talking online is one thing, but sitting and shaking someone's hand, like you, sir, and looking you in the eye, and seeing you smile, that is priceless. And that is the sort of community you're looking at. People who will give you meaningful engagement, who are prepared to come out with you and meet you and build that relationship. So, here's what a community does. You notice I do rules of 3 a lot. I do a lot of public speaking, and we do rules of 3. And the rules of 3 here is what a community does. It turns people into followers. Now, people, when I'm mean by people into your followers, who are you seeking? Now, for brands, travel brands and industry, you know it is. It's the people who pay the money to come in your hotels, your tours, your restaurant, your planes. Turkish Airlines is here. I flew here with Ethiopian and Jet. Okay, that's what they want. For bloggers, one of the things that I caution is your followers, the people you target, are not the people in this room. They are co-workers. The people you target are the people sitting here, who are actually not in the industry, work in sound people, the people up there serving you. This is your market. So it turns people into followers. They might come into your Facebook and like a post. But then, if you have a community, it turns your followers into your supporters. They start commenting. They start replying. You know what was really nice? Just before I got on stage, a member of the TRLT community tweeted me. I said, I'm on stage. I shared a photo. They said, from Dubai, they said, best of luck. That makes me feel so nice, that we have that community that supports each other. And I'm sure they were busy doing something else in Dubai, and they saw the tweet and they wished me best of luck. But more importantly, it turns your supporters into advocates. And what you need is a team of advocates. So what's an advocate? Just think of this. Who frequently comments on your posts? Who does it? Make a note of them. Now, are their comments very positive, extremely positive? Are they making lots of positive? If they're commenting on everything plus positive and negative, they just want to talk. But who are the ones that are positive? And the key, when there's negative criticism, and if you're not getting negative criticism at some stage, you're not doing your job. Someone is going to criticize you. Are they defending you? And I'm going to show you an example. This is a travel brand. They did a post on Instagram, and some person went out and decided attacking the travel brand. So these 3 people, separate, not employed by the travel brand, came out, said, stop doing what you're doing. You're being ignorant. You're being a crybaby. Crybaby is a Western term for, babies cry at anything very simply. And stop embarrassing yourself. Now, I said to the brand, I said, who are these people? They said, oh yeah, we know them. They comment on a lot of our stuff on Instagram and Facebook. Now, they've never met them. But these are the people that you want in your community, because they're going to say things that you can't say. Now, we know being in public, dealing with people, and customers aren't always the easiest people to deal with. We know this. You can't always say what you really want. But these people are saying it for you, and they are your support. These are your advocates. So these are very important. This is how you support them. Don't just give them a standard response. Oh, yeah, thanks for your comment. No, remember, you've got to reply to all the comments. Say, we really appreciate all the time you take to make the comments, to make them feel special. Find a way to feature or mention them. I really love camels. I really love camels. They're wonderful creatures. People think it's a bit of a worry, but I really do love them. And if you've got a company that has a camel tour, then you say, hey, Shane, we know you really like camels. What about this tour we've just offered? Okay, brings me in, makes me feel part of it. They went and mentioned it. Isn't that nice? And then invite them to an inner circle. If you've got, say, this beautiful resort we're staying in here, I've enjoyed my stay, let's say that they revamping the pool or opening up new rooms, the people in the local area who are commenting on what you do, bring them in. Invite them to the opening. They're out there, they're talking, make them feel special. You want to keep them on side. So my call to you is there's 3 things to do. Right here, right now. Straight after this happens at the cocktail party tonight, you need to start building your community. You need to find your voice. Find your voice, not your niche, find your voice. Let your voice be heard. And third, you need to find your advocates. And your advocates could be in this room. It could be Noel was laughing at me. It could be Noel there. It could be anyone here in this room. Your advocates can be in this room. You could meet them tonight. You could meet them at the Travel Mart on the weekend. Find them and nurture them. And build your brand, build your business, build your blog, and let your voice be heard. Thank you. Here's my contact details.